Good day, grade 12s, and welcome to the second lesson of our virtual tourism classroom. For those of you that didn't meet with me last time, my name is Penny Forstler. I'm a tourism teacher in the Nelson Mandela Bay district. Before I start, I'd like to make mention of two words of thank you. First goes to Erika Ferreira, who is the subject advisor for tourism in the Nelson Mandela Bay district for Zone 1, and she is responsible for compiling this magnificent set of PowerPoints to help you get through your syllabus this year. And secondly, I'd like to thank the e-Teaching and Learning Directorate of the Eastern Cape Department of Education, for without them, none of this would have happened. All right, so if we then can take a look at the content that we are going to be looking at today, it will be focused on the next lot of icons, which are located in Egypt, Germany, China, Israel, the United States of America, Greece, India, Turkey, France, Japan, and the last one for today will be located in Mexico. If I can just remind you of what I said the previous time, and that is that when studying icons, you must pay attention to their location on a world map, whether it is the country in which they are located, the city, the town, the area, the reason why it is an icon. You must be able to give a brief description and also recognize a picture of the icon. Now, before I start with the first icon for today, I'm going to remove up anything so that you then are not able to see it. And then the first icon that we will be looking at in today's lesson is located in Egypt. And there on the world map, you will see where Egypt is located. So if we take a look, grade 12s, we will see that the first icon in today's lesson is the Great Pyramids of Giza, located in Giza in Egypt, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. If you want to know why this is regarded as an icon, you can have a look at the top right-hand side of your screen, and you will see that the pyramids are symbols of Egypt's history and culture and serve as evidence of the ancient Egyptians' technical advancement. Now, just to give you a rough idea, these pyramids were constructed over 4,500 years ago, and they are massive tombs that were built for the Egyptian pharaohs. And just to understand the technological advancement of the Egyptians of the day, I'd like you to take a look at the images in the middle of your screen, which is the three great pyramids, or the three pyramids. Now, remember that these were built 4,500 years ago, and when they were built, there was no such thing as a crane, there was no cement, there was no way of moving these blocks uphill, and that is why the building of these pyramids are regarded as evidence of the ancient Egyptians' technological advancement. The image that you see in front of you of the Great Pyramids of Giza, they contain massive tombs, and inside are chambers, tunnels, secret passages, and storerooms. They were built by the pharaohs, or the pharaohs ordered them to be built or instructed them to be built in order to keep and protect the mummies, their personal belongings, and supplies for the afterlife. I'd just like to stop here and focus a little bit on what a mummy is. A mummy is a dried out corpse. to put it in simple terms. There were experts in ancient Egyptian times that specialized in mummification. And what they did was they removed the organs from the inside of the body. That was the liver, the lungs, the brain, everything except the heart. The heart was left behind. I'm really not going to go into the gory details of how they removed these different organs, but after their removal, they dried the body out by putting chemicals inside the body, and this made the drying process a little bit faster. Thereafter, they wrapped the body in meters and meters and meters of linen, hence the term mummy, as you will imagine that to see a mummy. Now, these great pyramids were built in order to put these mummies into the tombs that were located within. If you also take a look at the images of the pyramids on the screen, you'll see that the top is a pointed structure, and that is for the belief that the pharaohs would join, or the souls of the dead pharaohs would join the sun god Ra by ascending through that pointed structure of the pyramid. If you take a look at the profile of tourists that would visit this destination, it is tourists that are interested in history and sightseeing, architecture, archaeology or ancient civilizations, and also leisure tourists and cultural tourists. The next icon that we will be studying today is located in close proximity to the Great Pyramids of Giza and is known as the Sphinx. You look at the left-hand side of your screen, you will see there that the map is given and it shows where the city of Giza is. And in the same vein, if you look at the two images in front of you on the screen, you will recognize the pyramids, the Great Pyramid itself, that is located behind the statue of the Sphinx. Now, what is this statue of the Sphinx? Why is it an icon? It is a statue of a creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human. Now, if you take a look at the image, particularly on the left-hand side, you will see the paws of the lion that are stretched out in front of the statue, and that is the lion part of it, and the head is the head of a human. Now, it's remarkable that this statue is carved from one single block of limestone, and it is also one of the largest and most recognizable structures in the world, and has become a symbol of Egypt. As I already mentioned to you, the Sphinx is located in front of the Great Pyramid at Giza, and Giza is 25 kilometers from Cairo. Cairo is the capital city of Egypt. Historians are not 100% sure when the Sphinx was built and why it was built, but suspect that it was built around 2,530 years before Christ by the pharaoh Khafre to guard his tomb. The Sphinx itself was covered up by sand for many, many centuries, and it was only in 1925 that the rest of the Sphinx, the statue, was exposed. You'll also see that over the years, sand and wind and pollution and vandalism have caused a great deal of damage to the statue. Now, I'm specifically referring here to the nose, or the lack of the nose, on the front of the statue of the Sphinx. It looks like the statue doesn't have a nose, and that has been caused by many, many years of sand and wind erosion. If you look at the profile of a tourist visiting this attraction, it is exactly the same as the profile of the tourist visiting the Great Pyramids. There would be tourists interested in history, sightseeing, architecture, archaeology, and ancient civilizations, but then also leisure tourists, cultural tourists, and tourists interested in sightseeing. Our next icon, Grade 12, is located in Germany, and there you will see where Germany is on the world map. We have two icons that we will be studying in Germany. The first one is the Berlin Wall. I refer you to the right-hand side of your map, where you will see where Germany is in relation to Poland, the Netherlands, and the Czech Republic, and where the city of Berlin is located. Now, this Berlin Wall was built in 1961, and it was a concrete wall separating West Berlin from East Berlin in East Germany. I say was because the majority of the wall has been broken down over time. The wall symbolized the division between democracy and communism during the Cold War. And for those of us that are not history boffins, let's have a quick explanation of the Cold War. It's not a war as such as where people shot each other and dropped bombs on each other, but it was more an unfriendly relationship between the Soviet communist forces and the Western democratic countries. And that lasted from 1945 until 1990. Now, if we take a look at the description of the Berlin Wall, you will see that there's also a little bit of history there. And that refers to the Second World War, which ended in 1945. And we all know that Nazi Germany was defeated. And at that stage, Germany, which included the city of Berlin, was divided into 4 occupation zones, Allied occupation zones, specifically the USA, Britain, France, and the USSR. The zones of the USA, Britain, and France were united in 1949, and they formed the democratic West Germany, and the USSR occupied zone became communist East Germany. The former capital, Berlin, which was located in East Germany, was divided into East and West Berlin. The western side was a democratic city surrounded by communist East Germany. And in the time between 1949 and 1960, so over a period of 11 years, nearly 3 million East Germans escaped to the more prosperous West Berlin. They escaped in search of a better life. In 1961, the East German government began constructing this wall in an effort to prevent people from crossing from East Germany to West Germany. And in the time between the construction of the wall and when it was broken down, many, many people did manage to escape from East Germany to West Germany, but there were also many people that were shot and killed in the process of trying to escape. And then in 1989, after continued demonstrations by the East Germans, the Berlin Wall was finally broken down. There are still sections of the wall that are intact, but they are now only there for historical purposes. A tourist that would visit the Berlin Wall is a tourist interested in the history of the Cold War, as well as a cultural tourist. The second icon that we will be studying in Germany is the Black Forest. If you take a look at the map on the left-hand side of your screen at the top, you will see where the Black Forest is located in Germany, in the state of Baden-Württemberg, close to the city of Freiburg. Now, the Black Forest is known for its beautiful scenery, and it consists of mountains, pine and fir trees, valleys, lakes, mineral springs, and picturesque villages. I'd like you just to take a few minutes just to have a look at the beautiful image on the right-hand side of your screen. That building style is very, very characteristic of villages in this area. If you also look behind the houses, you will see many pine and fir trees that are located there, and that all adds to the beauty of the Black Forest. Now, the Black Forest is roughly 200 kilometers long and 60 kilometers wide, and is located in the southwestern part of Germany, close to the border with France and Switzerland. Apart from its natural beauty, the Black Forest is also known for its handcrafted cuckoo clocks, and in the middle of your screen you will see an image of a cuckoo clock. It's also known for Black Forest cake. It's also known for cherry schnapps. Now, schnapps is a type of strong alcohol. I think probably the closest thing that I can use to explain it is something like Witblitz. So all of those aspects, whether it be the pine and fir trees, the valleys, lakes, mineral springs, and picturesque villages, or the cuckoo clocks and the schnapps, it is a very, very popular tourist region in Germany. And tourists that visit this area can go hiking, walking, mountain biking, snow skiing, just to mention a few. Your profile of tourists that visit the Black Forest: you will have cultural tourists, nature lovers, adventure seekers will want to go hiking, walking, mountain biking, and skiing. Families will also want to visit the Black Forest area, recreational tourists, people that love the outdoors, as well as shopping tourists. Our next country that we will be visiting in today's lesson is China, and there is China on the map. And we will be taking a look at the Great Wall of China. Look at the right-hand side of your screen in the middle. There you will see the location of the Great Wall on a world map, and the city closest to it is Beijing. Now, the Great Wall of China dates back roughly 2,000 years. It's the world's longest human-made defense structure. So it's the longest defense structure made by man in the world. It's not only a symbol of China's history and culture, but is testament to ancient Chinese determination and engineering skills. And again, as I said to you, when we looked at the pyramids of Giza, if you can imagine that 2,000 years ago, there was nothing like a crane or cement, anything like that, that could make it easy, or big trucks that could make it easy to build a wall of this magnitude. And so, therefore, that is one of the reasons why the Great Wall of China is a testament to the determination and engineering skills of the ancient Chinese people. The Great Wall was built between the 5th century before Christ and the 16th century after Christ. And there were several Chinese emperors that played a role in the building of this wall. And as I mentioned earlier, the main aim behind it is to protect China, protect China from invaders. The wall stretches over 8,850 kilometers from east to west across northern China. It goes over mountains, it goes over deserts, it goes over grasslands. Now, just to put this into perspective for you, the distance of 8,850 kilometers is roughly the distance from the north to the south of Africa. So from Egypt to South Africa is roughly the same distance as the length of the Great Wall of China. If you look at the image, you will also see that watchtowers were built on the wall. These were lookouts and also served as rustic accommodation for the soldiers that were part of the lookouts, and they also had to store military supplies in that area. The only way that they could communicate with each other 2,000 years ago was by sending messages using flags and fires and smoke signals. Your profile of tourists visiting a destination of this nature is cultural and leisure tourists, but also tourists who want to experience one of the 7 wonders of the modern world, and tourists interested in architecture and history. Our next country that we will be visiting in today's lesson is Israel, and in Israel we have 2 icons that we will be studying. The first one is the Dome of the Rock, and you will see images of it on your screen at the moment. If you take a look at the top left-hand side of your screen, you will see there is an indication of where Israel is, and the Dome of the Rock is in the city of Jerusalem. Why is this an icon is explained at the top of your screen in the middle. It is located in the old city of Jerusalem and is an Islamic shrine which is built on a sacred rock. This is the 3rd most holy site in the world for Muslims after Mecca and Medina. It is believed that the Prophet Muhammad, who was the founder of Islam, ascended to heaven from this site. If you look at the description given to you there, you will see that the Dome of the Rock is located on the Temple Mount. It is the oldest Islamic monument in the world, and building was completed in 691 AD. And it is such an impressive sight, it can be seen from all over in Jerusalem. The Dome of the Rock is an octagonal structure, which means it has 8 sides. It's decorated with different mosaics, marble, metalwork, and colored glass. Now, that dome that you see in the middle there was originally made of gold, but has subsequently been replaced with an aluminium dome covered in gold leaf. There's also a religious significance for the people of the Jewish faith of the Dome of the Rock. They believe that it is the foundation stone of the world, and also believe it to be the place where Abraham prepared to sacrifice his son Isaac, and that it is where the Temple of Solomon, built in 950 BC, stood. Your tourists visiting this destination will be religious pilgrims, most specifically members of the Islam faith, as it is an Islamic shrine. You will also have cultural tourists visiting here, as well as tourists interested in sightseeing. Our next icon that we study in Israel is the Wailing Wall, also located in Jerusalem, in fact in close proximity to the Dome of the Rock, which was the previous icon that we studied. It is located on the west of the Temple Mount in the old city of Jerusalem, and is regarded as the holiest Jewish site in the world. Now, if you take a look at the image, you will see that the Wailing Wall is exactly that. It is a wall. When looking at the description, you will note that it is also known as the Western Wall, but in your studies you are expected to refer to it as the Wailing Wall, or and it is 2,000 years old, and it is all that remains of a retaining wall that surrounded the second temple built by Herod the Great on the Temple Mount, and it was destroyed by Romans in 70 AD. Now, this site has over time become a place of prayer and pilgrimage for Jews from all over the world. More specifically, you will find very Orthodox, strict Jews in this area, where they mourn for the loss of their temple and pray for its restoration. An interesting thing to note with this wall is that people who pray there write their prayers on a piece of paper, and they insert that piece of paper into cracks in the wall. Profile of tourists visiting the Wailing Wall, religious pilgrims again, but in this case specifically members of the Jewish faith, where the Dome of the Rock was members of the Islam faith. Cultural tourists and tourists interested in sightseeing. Our next icon is located in the United States of America, and there you will see the location of it on a world map, and you should have guessed it already, the world-renowned or well-known Statue of Liberty, located in the city of New York. Now, the Statue of Liberty was a gift from France to the United States. It is one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. It is also a symbol of freedom, and the reason why it is a symbol of freedom is it stands in New York Harbor, built on Liberty Island, which is the entrance to New York Harbor, and that is where immigrants from all over the world to the United States used to arrive by boat, hence the name, the Statue of Liberty. Your description of the statue: you'll see that it's a huge sculpture of a robed woman. She has a crown on her head. She has a lit torch in her right hand. And if you look in her left-hand side, you'll see she has a tablet. And at her feet is a broken chain. It's not really that easy to see the broken chain because it's covered by the robes that she is wearing. As already mentioned, this statue is located on Liberty Island, which is the entrance to New York Harbor. It was created by the French sculptor Frédéric Bartholdi, and he created the statue to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the American Declaration of Independence. Just as a matter of interest, the statue was built in France. Thereafter, it was taken apart and packed into crates and shipped across the sea to the USA, where it was unpacked and it was put back together in the New York Harbor and put onto Liberty Island. If you look at the symbolic features that you find on the Statue of Liberty, you will see the torch represents light on the path to freedom. The 7 rays in the crown of Lady Liberty symbolize the 7 continents, and the broken chains at her feet symbolize freedom from oppression. Your type of tourist that want to visit a destination of this nature are leisure and cultural tourists, but also tourists wanting to experience the worldwide symbol of liberty. The next icon is also located in the United States and is called the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is located in the state of Arizona, and you will see if you look at the map that it is in the southwestern part of the United States of America. The Grand Canyon is most certainly one of the largest gorges in the world. It has a magnificent landscape and is one of the most spectacular natural wonders and the best example of erosion in the world. Now, the Grand Canyon itself is located in the Grand Canyon National Park. The canyon was formed by 6 million years of erosion and geological activity caused by the Colorado River and its tributaries that carved through the layers of rock, and that has shaped the Grand Canyon. It is not something that has now stopped. This process of shaping the Grand Canyon continues. This erosion created a landscape of cliffs, hills, and valleys with layers of rock in shades of brown, yellow, red, and grey. And if you take a look at the image on your screen, you will see exactly that. And in this process of erosion, nearly 2 billion years of the Earth's geological history was exposed. Approximately 5 million tourists, of which you have adventure tourists, sightseeing tourists, nature lovers, and tourists interested in photography, visit the Grand Canyon. They want to go sightseeing, they want to go whitewater rafting or hiking. There's also mule rides and helicopter tours. And just a little bit of additional information. There's a skywalk that goes out across not right across, but out over the Grand Canyon. It has a glass bottom, so it feels like you are walking on air if you walk on the skywalk. And that is 219 meters high, which is incidentally the same height as the Blokranz Bridge bungee jump site, or roughly the same height. And there's also a zip line, so if you are interested, you can go zip lining across the Grand Canyon. Our next country that we visit is Greece. And in Greece, we pay a visit to the Parthenon. Now, the Parthenon is located in Athens, in the country of Greece. You will see that on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Take a few minutes just to take a look at the image that has been given to you on the screen. You will see that is the Parthenon with the city of Athens in the background. Something I want to focus your attention on is right in the foreground of your image. You will see there are people walking there, and that just gives you an indication of the size of the Parthenon, if the people are that size. Now, the Parthenon is the remains of a 2,500-year-old temple, and it is located on the Acropolis. The Acropolis is a hill that overlooks the city of Athens in Greece. It is a symbol of ancient Greek civilization and is also its most famous surviving building. The temple itself was built in honor of the Greek goddess Athena. Athena is the patron of Athens, and it was for protecting Athens during the war. The construction on the Parthenon was an ongoing process from 447 BC until 438 BC. So it took many years to construct. And if you look at the image given to you, you will see why. There are many marble sculptures decorating the Parthenon. These were only completed in 423 BC. The Parthenon has been a temple, a treasury, a fortress, a church, and a mosque. Unfortunately, a portion of the Parthenon was damaged in an explosion in a battle in 1687. Your profile of tourists that want to visit this destination are cultural and leisure tourists, people who are interested in history and ancient civilizations. Our next destination on our world travel trip for today's lesson is India, where we will be visiting the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal is located in the city of Agra in India. If you take a look on the map on the top right-hand side of your screen, you will see where Agra is located. Undisputedly one of the most beautiful buildings in the world, this Taj Mahal is constructed of white marble. It was built by an Indian ruler whose name was Shah Jahan, and it is a symbol of his everlasting love for his deceased wife. Taj Mahal is regarded as an architectural masterpiece and, as already mentioned, one of the most beautiful buildings in the world. Some history around the building of the Taj Mahal. Shah Jahan was the emperor, the Mughal emperor of southern Asia. Now, an emperor is like a king. He ordered the construction of the Taj Mahal in 1631 in honor of his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. She died, unfortunately, while giving birth to their 14th child. The Taj Mahal is situated on the banks of the Yamuna River, and if you look at the image, you will see surrounded by a vast garden. It took 22 years to complete the building of the Taj Mahal, and over 20,000 workers took part in the building of this icon. If you take a look at the beautifully manicured gardens in front of the Taj Mahal, it is a symbol that it is continuously kept neat and tidy, as one would expect from a successful tourist attraction. This is also a monument that is octagonal, the same as the Dome of the Rock, which means it has 8 sides, built entirely from white marble, and it is also decorated with precious and semi-precious stones. Anybody wanting to visit the Taj Mahal would be visiting one of the 7 wonders of the modern world, and the other tourists would also be tourists interested in architecture and culture. The next destination on today's list of places to visit is in Turkey, and if you take a look there, you will see where Turkey is on the world map. And the destination that we will be visiting in Turkey is the Blue Mosque. Now, the Blue Mosque is located in the city of Istanbul, and if you look the top left-hand side of your map on your screen, you will see where Istanbul is located. If you take a look at why this is an icon, you will see that it has cascading domes, which are decorated with ceramic blue tiles on the inside. It has courtyards and 6 minarets, and this is certainly considered to be one of the most beautiful mosques in the world. This Blue Mosque was built by Sultan Ahmed I between 1609 and 1616. Its official name is the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, but you have to use the term Blue Mosque as indicated in your CAPS syllabus. The main dome is 34 meters high and is surrounded by 8 smaller domes and semi-domes. The inside of the mosque is decorated with over 20,000 handmade blue ceramic tiles, and that is where the name Blue Mosque has come from. This is the only mosque in Turkey that was built with 6 minarets. Now, if I can just draw your attention to the image on your screen, you will see those towers that are located around the mosque. Those are the minarets, and it is from there that Muslims are called to pray 5 times a day. We will go to France now, grade 12s, and visit two destinations in this country. There is the location of France on the world map. The first icon that we will visit here is the Eiffel Tower, certainly one of the most well-known icons in the world. If you take a look at the middle of your screen, you will see that you have the location on a world map. It shows you where Paris is. The Eiffel Tower is an icon, as it is the world's most famous tower. It's also a symbol of Paris. The Eiffel Tower is the tallest structure in Paris and also the most visited tourist attraction in the world that charges an admission fee. So that gives an indication of how spectacular the Eiffel Tower is if people are willing to pay to go and visit. The Eiffel Tower is made from iron lattice and is situated on the bank of the Seine River, which is one of the big rivers going through Paris in France. It was built by the French structural engineer by the name of Gustave Eiffel, and it was built as an archway to the International Exhibition of Paris in 1889, and also to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. Now, the intention was to dismantle the Eiffel Tower in 1909, but it was decided to use it as a telecommunications tower, and therefore the Eiffel Tower was saved. If we take a look at the image on your right-hand side, right at the top of the Eiffel Tower, you will see some telecommunication equipment. There are 3 levels, and the Eiffel Tower receives approximately 7 million visitors per year, and you can imagine the most spectacular view that visitors going up the tower will have of Paris. The profile of tourists visiting this icon, certainly photographic tourists, tourists who are interested in taking beautiful photographs, also cultural tourists and leisure tourists. We have another destination to visit in France, and that is called the French Riviera. Have a look at the image on the top center of your screen. There you will see where the French Riviera is located. On the border, on the coast, and close to the border with Italy. And I think if you take a look at the image in front of you in the middle of your screen, grade 12, I don't think it's really necessary for me to explain to you why the French Riviera is regarded as an icon, because it is certainly one of the most famous and luxurious coastal resorts in the world. It lies on the Mediterranean coast, so the sea that you see in the image, that is the Mediterranean Sea, on the southeastern border of France, and it shares a border, it's close to the border that it shares with Italy. Now, it is known for its blue water, its scenic beauty, its dramatic coastline, warm weather and beaches. And if you take a look at the image in the middle of your screen, I'm sure you can clearly understand that. There are a number of world-famous cities along the French Riviera. Nice is the capital. Cannes, Monte Carlo is located in Monaco, Saint-Tropez. Those are all on the French Riviera. And they all have luxury hotels, casinos, restaurants, and yachts. This is most certainly the playground of the rich and famous. And if you are ever lucky enough to visit this icon, you will be rubbing shoulders with film stars, supermodels, billionaires, and members of the royalty. There's an annual film festival at Cannes, as well as the Formula One Grand Prix in Monaco, and that attracts large crowds of visitors. The perfume capital of the world is also located on the French Riviera. It is the top popular tourist town of Grasse. Your profile of tourists visiting a destination such as this is leisure tourists, people wanting to spend their days in the sun and the nights enjoying the nightlife. And as I mentioned earlier, you will also have to save up quite a lot of money because, as with Venice, the French Riviera is a destination for high-income travelers. So before going off to the French Riviera, save your pennies. We now take a visit to Japan, and that is our second last destination for today's lesson. And you will see where Japan is located on the map. And in Japan, we visit Mount Fuji, which is located approximately 100 kilometers from Tokyo. The reason why Mount Fuji is regarded as an icon, it is the highest mountain in Japan. It has a near perfect symmetrical cone shape and is regarded as a symbol of Japan. This is actually a volcanic mountain, but more about that in a few seconds. Mount Fuji itself is surrounded by 5 beautiful lakes and located in the Fuji Hakone-Izu National Park. I hope I said that properly. Apologies if I mispronounced it. Which is located approximately 100 kilometers to the southwest of Tokyo. Mount Fuji is still regarded as an active volcano by geologists, although it last erupted in 1707 and has been dormant since then. What you cannot see in the image is that the crater has 8 peaks. Mount Fuji is 3,776 meters high, and for most of the year is fully covered by snow. During summer and autumn, this snow cap serves as an inspiration to poets, artists, people wanting to take beautiful photographs. You will also see that the climbing season is in July and August when there is that's the only time that there's no snow on the mountain. Japanese Buddhists see climbing of this mountain as an important pilgrimage. It is a sacred mountain to the Japanese Buddhist monks. And you'll be glad to know, grade 12, that our last destination for today is in Mexico, indicated on your map, and that is Chichen Itza. It's located on the Yucatan Peninsula, which if you look at the top left-hand side of your map, you will see where the Yucatan Peninsula is located. Why is this regarded as a world-famous icon? Is indicated on the top of your screen. It is the ruined remains of a large, ancient Mayan city, and is one of the best preserved archaeological sites of the ancient Mayan civilization. Some interesting information about Chichen Itza is it has stone temples, pyramids, an astronomy observatory, and ball courts. Chichen Itza was also a powerful Mayan political, spiritual, ceremonial, and trading center between the years of 500 AD and 1100 AD. The city was abandoned and only visited by Mayan pilgrims until the arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century. The mixture of architectural designs at the site provides insight into Mayan culture, art, religion, knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, as well as their practice of human sacrifice to the gods. The most important building at Chichen Itza is a stepped pyramid known as the Temple of Kukulkan or El Castillo, and that is the one that is indicated in the image in the center of your screen. And that was used for religious and for astronomical purposes. Just as a matter of interest, going back to the human sacrifice to the gods, it is from the top of this El Castillo that human sacrifice was made. So human sacrifices were made at the top of the pyramid, and who knows, maybe the head then rolled down the stairs afterwards. The tourist profile of tourists visiting this destination: cultural and leisure tourists and tourists interested in ancient civilizations, as well as people wanting to visit one of the 7 wonders of the world. All right, grade 12.